Welcome, everybody. This is the bonus call for Watson Powers. We have our wonderful guest, Ren Jones, one of the founding fathers of Vulcan 7, which many of us use. So welcome, Ren.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate that a lot. Glad to
Well,
be
I'll
here.
tell you, you sent me some great questions that I wanted to ask you, and you sent me a couple back, and I'm not going to do any of the questions you wanted me to ask.
That's fine. You just ask whatever you want to ask. I mean,
Okay,
this whole will take a life of its own, I'm sure.
So Ren, your company, you yourself, you've worked with some of the best agents, the best teams in real estate. And
Yeah,
they're using your
it's fun.
platform to
It's
grow their
I'd love
business,
to do
right?
that. Yeah. And that seems to be who likes to use it
So
more than
what are
anything. So
some of the
that's a
best
nice thing.
agents, what are some of the best teams doing with your platform to grow their business, and why is that making a difference for them?
Yeah, well, obviously you go to a real estate convention with 180 booths. Only one or two is related to getting business from sellers. Everything else is trying to get buyer leads. You get 42 booths all about buyer leads and two booths about seller leads. So it's all about building the listing side of the business, which teams have to do. If you're running a strong business, you have to have a lot of inventory. So, if we're niche, it's because we're working with people that only want to build inventory. So,
Perfect. When you see a brand new agent and they come into real estate and they sign up for Vulcan 7, they're signing up for an expired service, they collect all this data that they can use. What are some of the mistakes they're making when they first join any type of this where they're given the data and they don't really know how to use it? What are
well,
they
they don't.
doing?
They just don't use it. It's sort of like they signed up for the gym, but they don't go. So that's the bigger problem. It's they don't know what they don't know. They don't know that they should, call early and
Right,
not be caller number 32.
right.
They don't know that they should be consistent. They don't know that they should be scripted.
Well, that's a new one, isn't it?
They don't know the accumulation effect from building this up and honing your skill. They don't know that they should practice ahead, role play. So yeah, everything, everything, Steve.
I hope you guys heard that. He said they don't have the discipline to practice. They don't stick with it. There's no magic pill, is there, Ren? I mean, this is work to get good at our craft.
Well, it's the gift. It's the gift. If this was easy and people were inclined to do it and it was gratifying, it would have it a lot harder. Well, so the gift is that it's not gratifying. The gift is that there's repetitious boredom. The gift is you have to, hone that skill, and you can make $1 million a year, if not $2 million a year, if not $3 million a year at this. So that's the gift. Most people turn their nose up at it. So that is a wonderful gift.
It is a gift. And that's the thing, guys. If you're listening to Ren, he's telling us that we are giving a great, tremendous opportunity. He provides the data and the way to reach people. We have to learn the skills to use the data. It's the old saying, I put all the food on the buffet, you decide what you want to eat.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and you've seen this, Steve, where, there'll be an expired listings, and it'll be the same. The people meet with the same 3 or 4 agents in their market, even though they got 30 calls. They meet with the same 3 and 4 agents over and over again, which is strictly skill, because 30 of them called, but they only responded to 4 or 5 different ones on a rotation of the best skill wise. So, you definitely, there's an.
You probably will know this name, but when I used to call expires and be first, and they say, I've already set 2 appointments, I would say, well, did you send it with Gene Eford, Frank Katrupi, Ruby Kahn, or Rob Daniels?
Yeah, I was about to say Rob Daniels is in there.
And they would say, how did you know? Because we're the only 5 that called that early in the morning. I knew who they were meeting if they said they made an appointment with somebody already. And then by knowing who they were meeting, what do we do, Ren?
Right, there you go. Because everybody has a little pattern to it. So you know how to.
That's right.
How to work it. You know how to work it. So that's the interesting thing about it, really. It's the same small handful that do this.
Well, and would you agree? It's the same handful that have the discipline to do this for months and years, because most people, like you said, they go to the gym 20 days, their body hurts, they never go back.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a wonderful thing. And that's the way it's going to be. And we've come to realize that for every 100 realtors, there are only 3% that are going to do this. The rest of them are going to be happy selling, 7 to 14 homes a year. And mostly
I hope you guys
buyers,
heard that.
mostly
Only
buyers.
3%, only 3% are going to take his system and systems like that and actually apply it. And I like to believe we're all in that 3%.
Right.
Let's
Well,
shift gears for a second, man.
But,
Go ahead.
but it's all about teams, though. I'll tell you,
That's all.
it's,
Yeah.
the world's changing fast in that area with, our industry doesn't change much over the last few decades. We're like the dry cleaners, not much change. But in the last year, we see a lot of change going on right now.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of change, is you service tens of thousands of agents, or maybe hundreds of thousands. Is texting and voicemail still viable in today's world?
yes, but here's the deal on that. So we were getting subpoena after subpoena after subpoena with agents that were doing things. They were exporting out of us and blasting with a lot of automation with, it depends on what you're doing and how you're doing it. So voicemail, probably a wonderful thing to do. Not automated though, because the automated voicemail is getting caught in the class action lawsuits. But leave a voicemail. I mean, especially the nice part about it is you can, as you said, Steve, you pause for a second, you leave a nice voicemail, use their name, make an inquiry, your house on Heatherwood. Are you still accepting offers on the property? Give me a call when you get a second. Hold on. Let me give you my direct number so I can reach you. Blah, blah, blah. And they will call you back. But don't have an automated generic message that you're dumping for a couple of reasons. One, that's where some of the class action lawsuits will get you. But that personalized voicemail, oh yeah, that's good. SMS, if you're talking to people, that is a great tool to use. If you just say, "Are you fine if I text you this, that, and the other?" and they say sure, then you can certainly do it. But there are class action lawsuits on SMS. So those are two great tools. Just use them in a way that keeps you legal. Plenty of ways to do it that are legal. So.
And Ren is being very kind. When he says there's class action lawsuits, we're talking about companies writing tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars.
Well, Keller Williams wrote a check for 140 million last year in March. EXP wrote a check for 30 million last year, and now they're back in the sling again. EXP is back in court on the same issues. So they may have
This isn't the buyer broker issue. This is a text or voicemail issue.
And DNC as well.
And DNC.
So we're getting there. So you just have to be cautious out there. So we have a lot of small players. I mean, I got somebody now that's like, it wanted us to pick up their legal bill because they'd gotten in trouble and they got in trouble for exporting it from us and sending out automation to people. I'm like, you didn't even use our system. You exported it to send out to people and you want us to help you out. I'm like, no. So,
it's like suing Ford because you went 140 in their car and killed somebody.
Right. So and they weren't even in our car. They got in somebody else's car.
And guys, not to be negative on this, why I asked Ren to really push on this is because some of us are going, yeah, it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. You need to do it in the legalities of the law. Yeah. And if you don't like it, it doesn't matter. And you may not get caught, but if you do, you're done. So it's one of those.
Those are big checks.
I'll do it. And if I get caught, it's not a slap on the wrist. It's a career breaker. You're done. So Ren's company, which I adore, has the ways so you don't step out. Now, if you take his data and do something with it, they're not responsible. But you need to pay attention to do things right because you want to make a lot of money without.
Yeah, you'll make a fortune just doing it the right way. So it'll work.
Yeah, fine. Let's jump. I wrote down if we were to look 5 years ago and we look at today, what do you see as the trend for us to find sellers in the future?
Well, AI is an important piece. A lot of things like one of our tools in there is likely to list. So you circle an area, say you circle an area of 3,000 homes and you hit a button and then up come 641. Those homes are way more likely to put their home on the market than the rest based off of 163 different data public data points. So call them. And that makes it a lot easier. That we have absentee filters, we have NODs in about half the states where where pre-foreclosure exists. And then we're expanding into 3 or 4 other categories as well over the next few weeks, including empty nesters and free and clear and categories like that, so that you can target people that are very have more of a propensity to put their home on the market than others. So things like that. We're also preparing for, with Sitzer Burnett in a lot of these cases, and these will take years to get settled in court, but you're going to see more and more and more teams are really focused on listings. They have like 6 buyer agents. They're going to say, well, let's do 4 buyer agents and let's take 2 more of you and work on listing property, because that's where all the money's going to be, because commissions may get narrower on the buy side. You may see more showing agents, things like that. This is just our prediction, what we're preparing for. But what we're preparing for is to be able to push data on active listings here real soon. And what I'm saying is, there is, and some of you know this, your parent company said you don't have to be a realtor unless your MLS requires it. And so what that will entail, as we see more and more of a separation of realtor controlled MLSs, is the only reason you have to wait till listing expires is because of a standard, one of the standards of practice, which kind of violates the Sherman Antitrust Act, but they've always looked the other way for the last few decades. But now it's coming into play. So somebody from Remax may call up and say, I see you're listed with Coldwell Banker. That's stupid and pathetic. You shouldn't be with them. They're stupid. I think I'd like to talk to you. Or, that would not be their approach, but they can call while it's active.
Right. Well, Pepsi can go into a restaurant and say, I see you're selling Coke products.
Right.
Let me show you what I can do for Pepsi.
Right, exactly.
And
it's
the
the same
US
idea.
government loves that because that's capitalism.
Right. It's the American way. So you just say, I see you're listed with Coldwell Banker. How's that been going? Been listed for 87 days. All right, do you have any offers, this, that, the other? So it may not be where we're waiting till it expires. So we're preparing now. So as some of that starts to happen, that we have it available. So,
Yeah,
we're going to see more and more activity on the listing side, because that's where the bucks are going to be.
So 2 things I want you guys to really hear what Ren said, because he's sharing so much stuff. And again, because he's so deep, sometimes it's not as clear as some of us need it. When and if this happens, we have to be listing agents, and that's the way it is. I use this term all the time, Ren, in coaching. Yeah. Nobody goes to buy a used car from a used car lot that has no cars. If you haven't got cars for sale, you don't find buyers for cars. If you don't have listings, you're not going to find buyers. Realtors don't find properties for buyers anymore. The buyer finds the house, then talks to the realtor to get it shown. So we have to be listings. Number 2, if we go back to the beginning when we were talking about this, he only said it one time, we've got to increase our skill ability. We have to be so good at our skills, because no matter what happens, I'm going to clean this up a little bit. No matter what happens, the guy or gal with the greatest skill set is always going to win.
That is true. Skills are everything.
The skills are everything, guys, because no matter what happens in this market, whether it's this type of seller or this type of seller, the one with the skill set is the one that's going to get the appointment. If I can shoot a buffalo from 600 yards and you have to wait till he's 200, by the time you're setting, I've already shot the buffalo. Yes.
Well, and we see it every day. You take Chicago, for example. There are agents where I can go right now and shadow them for the morning and watch them make calls for 3 hours and set 4 appointments every day. They set 3 or 4 appointments. They may only go on 2 because they pre-qualify and eliminate 1. And then in that same market, somebody calling every day in those same hours and maybe setting 1 appointment in 7 days, in a week's time. So skill is everything. It pulls the buggy.
Well, that's it. A professional golfer, there's only 125 professional golfers on the PGA. And how do they determine that? At the end of 2023, the top 125 get to play in 24, and number 126 never gets to play.
Yeah.
It's all skill.
Yeah, it'd be like going to shadow Mike Putnam. Is he on here? I see his name down there.
He might be.
I remember listening to recordings of his prospecting. Man, he was good.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
we had fun. We had our summit there in Arizona, and I brought Mike up on stage. And Ren, what I did with Mike is I said, we're going to really increase your role play skills. Rather than role play the scripts every day, 1 day a week, let's role play the scripts. And 4 days a week, all we're going to do is objection handlers. And so the rule was, you're going to ask me for an appointment, and I'm going to say no for 3 minutes. And you got to handle every objection I give you for 3 minutes. And I'm not going to give you the appointment. Because if you can do 3 minutes of objection handling, you can do 30 seconds. And for those of you who have seen it, it was nothing short of phenomenal. I would put him right there as the Michael Jordan of objection handlers. It was 3 minutes of watching Tiger Woods hit golf balls.
Wow.
And so I challenge you guys, when you're role playing the rest of this year, 1 day of scripts, 4 days of handling objections, because that's where the money is.
You're right on the money there. That's for sure. That is good.
So Ren,
Yeah, you got some rock stars in here. I see some names I recognize. Great.
You know, Watson Powers, we're real fortunate. We coach a lot of teams. We have a lot of people who are starting teams, and we have a lot of people who are high producers and want to be.
Yeah.
We're very fortunate. We have very good clients. So, Ren, past clients in Sphere. You've been a real estate agent. You were really big. I think you were #1 Remax Commonwealth for many years.
Yep.
What do you think the mistake is a lot of agents make with their past clients in Sphere, and how can they change that in 24 so they can have increased business?
Well, yeah, and again, it's the consistency. Think about when agents do call their Sphere. I mean, and I'm guilty. Businesses start slowing down late October. So late October, I'd start calling them through February, and then the market would open up and I'd stop calling. I would be like, go through the A's, then the B's, then the C's. I'd get to M every year, and then I'd start over at A, and then A.
Thank God, we're normal.
So yeah, but if I had been consistent, it would have been an exponential. It would have been exponential. Would have been.
Yeah, you would have had that private boat I talked to you to try to get, and I could have stayed on your boat for free. Thanks.
That's it. So it's a tough one because it's so tantalizing to go after that now business, and that database can be 50%. And we see a lot of our best clients that have become consistent, where 50% of their business is coming from the database, and 50% from their existing database, and 50% that they create new so they keep growing that way. So yeah, I lost a lot of money. Nothing was worse than getting the yellow stickers. The yellow stickers where you'd mail something to all your clients, and then the yellow sticker gave you their new address.
I remember, and I don't know if you ever had the opportunity to meet my wife, but we drive through a neighborhood and I'd say, hey, honey, you see the house listed with Remax? I sold my house 4 years ago. She goes, did you call him? Did you email? Did you text? Yes. Well, you suck at this real estate. I don't know what you're doing. And then we drive in another week. Hey, you see the house listed with KW? I sold the house 3 years ago. Did you call him? You mail? What do you got? Halitosis through the phone? What do you do all day? And I was like, I got to do a better job.
I know if we could just go all 12 months and we could be very systematic about it, that's a gold mine. And I see people that do it.
Yeah. So I'm going to give a hint to everybody on this call. The most important day that you can call them is their anniversary of their purchase and sale. So if they bought a house with you on March 31st, that is the day. And I'm not recommending you call March 31st, call a week early because you don't want to be late. But remember that when you call them and say, hi, Ren, it's your realtor and friend, Steve Powers. How are you today? Do you realize it was 4 years ago next week that you were kind enough to buy your house with me? It was. They're immediately back in your car. They're driving. They remember that summer Greece romance that you had, because that's how they know you, from the buying of that house or the selling of their house. So if you don't call your past clients, or you do, don't miss that date. It is the linchpin of the calls. It is the most important call of the year to your past clients, because that was the pinnacle. That was your wedding date.
Good way to look at it.
Well, that's the clean version of how I say that, but yes. So Ren, fast forward. It's 2025.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is going to happen? Because you're in touch, like we are, with a lot of people, movers and shakers in our industry. what is the word in Ren's world about what's going to happen to real estate in 2025?
I think it's all teams, not all teams, but I think teams continued. You're going to be put in a position where it needs to be teams to serve the public at the level that they expect. We're seeing, and we're already seeing that happen. The movement towards teams is becoming. I can see where somebody wants to join. They get their license and they talk to the broker, and the broker says, "Yeah, you can come to our company. We have 37 teams here. I have 18 of them that are willing to take you in and work with you." So, that's how recruiting will be. It won't be like being a solo agent. I mean, we see it coming, and it's coming.
Well, yeah, it's the way America works. Now, I will tell you, we coach a lot of individuals who don't want a team, and we're going to help them be very successful.
Yeah,
and
if you've been doing it and you're on it, nothing wrong with that at all.
But you're like that individual restaurant in a town, and you created your niche, and as long as you keep working, you're going to be fine. But when you drive through any town and you get off the highway, there's an Outback, a Longhorns, and a Roadhouse Steakhouse, and then there's Bob's House of Beef. 90% are going to go to the teams because they have their systems down. So if you're an individual and you're thinking about doing a team, give us a call. If you don't want a team, we're going to help you make bank. I mean, there's a lot of money not being a team. But it's going to get harder.
If you're already in the business and you've got some traction, great. I just think it's going to be harder 2 years from now in 2025.
Well, it's economies of scale.
Brand new agent, they're not going to make it very easily. I think
no, it's economies of scale. My partner Gordon has 30 people on his team.
Yeah,
he pays for everything. They can come in with very little money, and he buys leads.
Right.
He's spending.
There's consistent business there. They can make it.
Yeah, and I think he spends close to $22,000 per person per year on leads. Most people coming into real estate don't have that kind of coin out of their pocket.
Right. So I just think that's going to be the trend. So.
It is. But
somebody that's been doing it a little while and then they jump and they go solo, fine.
Yeah.
But I don't see them starting that way.
No, here's the deal. If it was easy, everyone would do it and there'd be no money in it. So one of the things I want everybody to know is be grateful that it's hard. Be grateful that it's changing. When there's change, there's movement. See, when interest rates don't move, nobody buys. When prices don't move, nobody sells. Ren, you probably know this. When I moved from Massachusetts, I looked at Boulder, Colorado. My wife was accepted for her doctorate, so we were there. And I said, well, this would be a great place. It's beautiful. My gosh, beautiful. I can sell real estate here. And the average house was on the market like 11 years at that time. 110,000 and the market 3, 4, 5 years because there was no movement. When prices, nobody moves because they're waiting for them to go up. Buyers are waiting for them to go down. When interest rates don't change, buyers don't want to buy because they don't feel urgency. When they do change, you guys notice how the phone's ringing a little bit now? Interest rates have dropped. Buyers are coming out. Sellers are thinking about moving. Be grateful for change. Change gets rid of the weak and really exposes the skillful. So we're going to open up some questions. I told Ren I need 20, 25 minutes of his time because he runs 24 hours a day. So would anyone like a question for Ren? Here, yes, Sydney.
Hey, Ren, how are you?
Hi, Sydney.
So one of the things I hear from our coaching clients a lot is, oh my God, there's no expireds. There's not many expireds out there. But when I look at the data, I see that those numbers are increasing. Yeah. Overall, what would you say about the number of expires percentage-wise over last year? What are you seeing?
According to our CTO, we're seeing about 2.5 times what we had. So it's a good number. They did get in there for a while. I agree.
They did. What about FSBOs?
But what was interesting is sometimes coaching clients will say that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no expires.
That becomes their story. What about FSBOs? What are you seeing on FSBOs?
They take a little longer to sell, so there's an opportunity to get a listing out of it.
Are you seeing that number increase? The number of FSBOs coming through the system?
I haven't measured, to be honest, I haven't measured the FSBOs. They're pretty steady. I haven't measured them. I do know the expireds have gone up a bit. We're roughly 2.5 times what we had a year.
Okay, great. That's good to know. Good to know. I have one more question. You talked a little bit about skill and the difference between the 3 or 4 agents that are getting the listings. And so what is it about their skill that's different from everyone else? If you were to just quantify that and in just a short statement, what do you think the big difference is in their skills?
Geez, I think when you look at it, if you wanted to get there and you took and listened to like 100 hours of really good agents making calls and emulating the skills, what are you copying? You're copying some good questions. You're copying, they say this, so then I say this, and they say this, and then I say that. You're copying the fact that you sound conversational. You're copying the sound that you're pacing them. In other words, if they're talking like this, you're talking like that. You're going where they are. And then you may lead with enthusiasm or lead them somewhere else, but you're at least starting to talk like they talk, mirror match, whatever. I call it pacing, but you mirror and match them. So yeah, it's the skills are, it's a lengthy list of nuances and things. And one of the best ways to do it is to just to copy it, to listen to 100 hours of somebody making great calls and then and channeling them. But listen, having a variety. When I first got started, I would listen to all these, I had all of these recordings of people making calls that were really good at it. And I just used the copycat principle.
Good, thank you.
Made it a lot easier.
We got time for one more question. If there's one more question, if not, we'll
Yeah,
let Ren go. Go ahead, Ray.
Yeah, I just had a quick question. Ren, longtime Vulcan customer, and I'm just curious about the relist rate on the old expireds. Of course, brand new expireds, most important priority. Call yesterday, call all last week. I do that. I'm just curious, based on the relist rate of looking at older ones, a month, 3 months, 6 months, are you seeing any changes or trends, or is it basically last quarter is the area to focus and not much beyond last quarter, or anything, any comments you have on that?
Yeah, I don't know if I have some hard stats that are going to help you. And a lot of it can vary a little bit from certain markets, because there are some markets where you'll have a handful of people that are really pounding the old, and then you have other markets where you don't have that much drilling down, and there's a lot of opportunity there because they had it one time, they had it on the market a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it is. So it depends. It depends. I know your market's very competitive, so I don't know the answer there, but your experience is probably the best indicator.
I just keep at it then. Thanks.
And you're in a great market too.
He does have a great market. So Ren, we're a few minutes over the time that I told you we would take, and we cannot thank you enough for your insight. If they wanted to reach out and get some more of your wonderful products, where do they go?
Vulcan7.com.
Could it get any simpler than that, guys? So we endorse his company because they know what they're doing and they keep you out of trouble. And those two things are not in the order that you have to use in the future. You've got to find a company that can keep you out of trouble and knows what they're doing, because these are class action lawsuits and you don't have to do a bunch to be drawn in. And so, Ren, thank you for protecting the agents in our industry by providing a product that is very useful, but also when done correctly, they can go to sleep at night knowing they'll have their house tomorrow.
That's right.
And
we're a little conservative, but it's worth it.
It's worth it. Trust me. So guys, thank you, Ren. If you want to send him an email, thank him. If you want information, go to Vulcan7.com. My name is Steve Powers. Tomorrow is Free Coaching Friday. So if you have any questions, give me a call tomorrow. I'll be available all day. So I won't put Sydney out for that because she may not be available, but I'm available all day tomorrow. This is going to be the most exciting year for real estate. I got to tell you, the goals that our people have set are higher than ever. We had a great year last year. We're going to have a great year this year. We're going to attack. It takes two things, skills and work. And don't think it doesn't take work. Skills and work. And if you put those two things into 2024, we're all winners. Yeah.